Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
What's up, man?
Nothing. How about you?
You know, it's been good. It's been good.
Yeah, what's been good about it?
Yeah. Having fun with the fam and my wife.
Okay.
That's been nice. Yeah, the snow, man. We got so much snow recently. What the hell? Oh, my God.
Now, you guys went and saw a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was that? Don't give me anything. Oh, was it good?
Well, don't give you anything, because I can't say.
But don't give anything away, because I want to see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, the movie Glass.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So Unbreakable.
Yeah, which
right?
I've seen, yes.
The first in the trilogy.
Yep.
Which I think is a perfect movie. It's a flawless movie.
Yep.
I think the script, the acting, the dialogue, the editing, everything about that movie is perfect. It is a perfect movie. I love Unbreakable. Split, same universe, connected, Shyamalan, on his trajectory upward after his slump.
Yep.
Good. Not nearly as good as Unbreakable, but good,
Yeah.
I liked it. Glass. Do you know what a urinal puck is? Do you know what a urinal puck is?
I do know, yes.
Yeah, the little soapy things that they used to put in the bottoms of the urinal. Yeah. Those are more interesting.
All right.
It was this was, I would give this a C- if I was feeling really generous. Yeah. It's not that the ideas were bad. The ideas were good. I can tell you this, way too much exposition. Like show, don't tell.
Yeah.
No, he didn't do that.
He just sat there telling.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's just so bad, dude.
Well then forget it. I'm going to go watch Wreck-It Ralph 2 then. Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah, okay.
What?
Just let me pick some movies out for you.
No.
Let's see Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, I saw the first one. We're going to watch the second one.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you and Steve probably going to go?
No, I'm going to go with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, no, it's not in theaters anymore. We're waiting for it to be rentable on
They have to
iTunes.
rent it on Redbox. Jimmy has a DVD player in his basement.
No, just rent on the iTunes. Rent on the iTunes.
Okay, all right. You Redbox it, man.
So
That's
what?
So funny. No, it's good. I like it.
We like watching it at home, comfy, make
Mm-hmm.
popcorn. My kids like to laugh really loud and talk during movies.
Yeah.
And so that's why we don't go to the theaters that often, because I'm like, unless when a movie comes out, I wait a good 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then take them Saturday morning at like 9 a.m.
Do your kids ever get mad that you take them to see junk movies?
No, they love the movies.
No, they like junk movies like you do?
They just love them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
like
great.
My whole family likes junk movies.
That's it. We go together. We enjoy it. Watch it. Mary Poppins Returns.
Oh, my gosh.
So I figured if it's 3.5 weeks later and we're going to a matinee at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning and you're complaining, that's your own fault.
Here's the thing. When you take the movie theaters that we go to have these large, comfortable recliners.
Yeah, I take them there too.
How long does it take you to fall asleep when you take your kids to see one of those movies?
It depends on the movie.
Yeah?
Yeah. Depends on the movie. Most times I'm up. Cause like.
Really?
Yeah, because we go watch like, they like all the Marvel ones. And so do I. So it's kind of for me too.
Marvel's the worst.
No, it's not. Why do you think it's the worst?
Because it's Saturday morning cartoon style. It's just not, if you like jokes and silliness and
yeah, it's good. We went and watched Aquaman a couple weeks ago.
How bad was that? Seriously.
You know what? It wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad.
It was not that bad. I don't agree with Pastor Pat and some of his assessment.
What did he say?
Well, him and Tommy tried saying it's better than Black Panther. And I'm like, no. Or at least as good, they said. I know it's a whole different.
Isn't that DC?
It is.
He's
DC.
saying he liked a DC one better than a Marvel one,
or at least on the same level.
I don't trust Pat's assessment when it comes to film.
Well, I do.
You do?
But,
yeah.
When it comes to comics, yes, I absolutely do. But this one, I'm like, nah. First, I thought it was just Tommy saying it because I saw Tommy say it on Twitter, and I was like, Pat, you got to get your boy in check because your boy is dumb.
He's like, actually, that's funny though because he's not. He's like really smart.
Yeah, I know.
But on this,
I'm like, he's dumb. And Pat's like, no. But I agree with him. I'm like, oh, okay, father like son.
Maybe like it's like Cyrano de Bergerac. Like Tommy feeds Pat all the information. He just listens to Tommy. Maybe that's where he gets his ideas from.
That'd be amazing.
Hey, you want to do mailbag?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we got a bunch of messages, and we want to start doing some videos in response to the messages. Well, we're trying to work out some microphone issues, so that hasn't happened yet. So we did get a Facebook message from a brother. I don't have his name here. I just kind of copied and pasted the text. But here's what it says. Hey, guys. I am a Reformed Baptist, but I have a few questions that I have been wrestling with. If Paul says in Romans 3 that, quote, there is no fear of God before their eyes, as a general charge against all mankind, then how are there God-fearers like Cornelius? If the disobedience of Adam led to a universalism of guilt, sin, and death to all mankind, then why doesn't Jesus, the second Adam's obedience and atonement, cause a universalism of salvation from it? Does Adam's disobedience and fall have more authority and power over Christ's obedience and resurrection? Again, I am a Reformed Baptist, but as I study the scriptures, these are questions that have arisen I'm wrestling with. Thank you for all you do, and I am looking forward to your response. Sorry it took us so long to get to it, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's deal with God-fearers.
Okay.
So when you're looking at like Romans 3, there is no fear of God before their eyes. No one seeks after God. No one does good. You have to understand that what Paul is saying is that no one fears God purely or perfectly, right? That there is no proper motivation inside of a non-Christian, a person who is not born again, to fear or love God.
Yeah, there's no faith.
There is no faith, so nothing can come from them that is good in God's sight. Now, on a worldly sense, in the civil realm, people can be good. People can do good things in a relative sense.
Deemed upright.
Yeah, right. They can have good character. They can be kind and compassionate. So, on a relative civil sense, a man can be righteous among his peers, but no one is righteous before God in and of themselves. No one fears God. No one seeks for God. And yet, we read about people fearing God and seeking the Lord and all of this. So your question has to do with God-fearers. How are there God-fearers like Cornelius?
Cornelius from Acts 10.
Oh, I thought he was talking about Cornelius Van Til. Oh, my bad. So, yeah. Acts, was it 9 and 10?
10 and beginning of 11.
10 and 11.
Yep.
So Cornelius, here's the thing. A God-fearer in the scripture was generally a non-Jew who had come to embrace the Jewish faith. It was a person who heard of Yahweh and his covenants and his promises and his laws, and they believed. So they were believing in the God that was revealed. And if they were a true God-fearer in the best possible sense, it means that they were born again, that they were regenerated, that they were by God's Spirit converted and were actual believers.
Yeah, I mean, Acts 10 says this. What does it say? There was a man named Cornelius, a centurion of what was known as the Italian cohort, a devout man who feared God with all his household, gave alms generously to the people, and prayed continually to God.
Right. And so, God visits homeboy.
Yep,
and
has a vision.
And has very positive things to say. So to us, that sounds very much like Cornelius was a convert, a believer. He hadn't heard of Jesus yet, but he had, under the old covenant, in all that context, he had come to believe in the God of Israel, in Yahweh. And then as the gospel is then proclaimed to him, of course, he receives that because he already believes in Yahweh. It was God's Spirit continuing to move in him and sanctify him. So, so you can apply this to a couple of different things. No one fears God is what the scripture says, but people do fear God. If they fear God properly, they are doing so from faith.
Yes.
As a consequence of God's grace. So if they fear God, if they seek it, people do seek God. Seek and you will find, right? I delight in those who seek me. Yeah. So people do seek God, but they won't do it of their own sinful will. It must come from a heart that has been changed by God's grace. It needs to stem from faith.
Which is what we talked about just on this last Monday when we were talking about the effectual call.
Exactly. Good callback.
There you go.
To that one. All right. So let's see. If the disobedience of Adam led to a universalism of guilt, sin, and death, then why doesn't the second Adam's obedience and atonement cause a universalism of salvation from it? Does Adam's disobedience and fall have more authority and power over Christ's obedience and resurrection? Well, the answer to that last question is no.
No, yeah,
it definitely does not have more power than that. What you really have to do is consider that these two Adams are representing two groups of people.
Yeah.
So the first Adam represented all of humanity. So what he did is conveyed to all of humanity. The second Adam only represents the elect.
Yep.
The second Adam only represents
The
those
people of God.
that God has given to him, right? So this is what we've talked about this a lot in past episodes. So really what you're looking at here, I mean, you're talking about Romans 5, right? So let me go there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so death in Adam, life in Christ, Romans 5:12. Therefore, just as sin came into the world through one man, and death through sin, and so death spread to all men because all sinned. For sin indeed was in the world before law was given, but sin is not counted where there is no law. Yet death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over those whose sinning was not like the transgression of Adam, who was a type of the one who was to come. But the free gift is not like the trespass. For if many died through one man's trespass, much more have the grace of God and the free gift by the grace of that one man, Jesus Christ, abounded for many. And the free gift is not like the result of that one man's sin, for the judgment following one trespass brought condemnation, but the free gift following many trespasses brought justification. For if, because of one man's trespass, death reigned through that one man, much more will those who receive the abundance of grace and the free gift of righteousness reign in life through the one man, Jesus Christ. Therefore, as one trespass led to condemnation for all men, so one act of righteousness leads to justification of life for all men. So when it says all men there in that last verse, verse 18, you have to say, well, is this all without exception or all without distinction? We've talked about this before as well, right? And is it, and who are we referring to in all? If we want to take this in the most expansive way, then we have to say with verse 18 that Adam's sin brought condemnation to every single individual, all without exception, and Christ's act of justifying grace led to life for all men without exception. Now, we don't believe that that's what Scripture teaches.
No.
We have clear statements about hell and death and judgment, that some are saved and some perish. So it must then mean that this all is referring to a particular group. All can refer to the elect. The justification of life for all men can refer to those the Father had given to Christ. It can refer to all men who believe. It can refer to all men without distinction who are a part of the elect. But in the simplest of terms, we're talking about all men who are represented in Adam and all men who are represented in Christ.
Yeah.
The trespass led to condemnation for all who were represented by Adam, and the one act of righteousness led to justification of life for all men who were represented or who are represented by Jesus. All right. Again, I'm a Reformed Baptist, but as I study the Scriptures, these are questions that have arisen. Listen, man. We all ask questions, and even things that we have believed for a long time, sometimes we'll trip over and we're like, wait a minute, let me rethink this. And we'll go back and we go back to the Scriptures.
Take another look at it. Yep.
Don't take our word for it, right? We're here riffing and just kind of giving you some quick answers. Read the Scriptures, read the best theologians out there, and find the best explanation that you can. There are much better treatments of this stuff out there. We would encourage you to look at some really good commentaries. But in short, I think it all comes down to who each head represents covenantally.
Yep. Next question. I'm not going to actually say who it's from.
Steve McCoy.
So the subject is association. Here, good morning. I want to start
Wait. Read it like he types it.
Oh, good morning.
There it is.
I want to start out by saying that I recently found your podcast and have really enjoyed them and have sparked some great conversation between my wife and I. Let me preface my questions by saying that my wife and I love our church and know that they love God and are eagerly seeking Him. It also was the tool that led to the restoration of our marriage.
Nice.
That being said, there are a few things that cause us questions. Do you associate with any Reformed Baptist associations? That's a question mark there. He's asking us. Do you associate with any Reformed Baptist associations?
I think they knew it was a question when it started with do you. I think they didn't have to tell him that there was a question.
Yeah. It's a question, guys. Do you, and he's talking to us, with any Reformed Baptist associations? We live in Texas and didn't know if you had any recommendations. I guess our biggest concern is about freedom of worship. I guess you could call us charismatic when it comes to worship. My wife and I are co-leaders of a marriage group and have recently joined the marriage ministry team, so we're trying to prayerful with any consideration of moving churches.
Trying to be prayerful. Yeah.
Also want to say that
be
you
more
guys
careful. You should be less prayerful, more careful when you're writing. Go.
Also want to say that you guys are doing an amazing job. Please keep up the good work. Have a blessed day.
Blessed day.
Blessed day.
Blessed.
Blessed day.
Blessed. Yeah, man. All right. So first of all, Jimmy and I, we didn't talk at all before any of this. So we're looking at this. So I think we're going to wind up saying the same thing.
Well, let's find out.
Let's see here. Okay, we are not a part of a Reformed association, but ARBCA, A-R-B-C-A, it's a good association of Reformed Baptists. They're definitely present in Texas. So look up ARBCA, A-R-B-C-A, Association of Reformed Baptist Churches in America. Do a Google search if you want to check that stuff out. And even if you don't ever change churches, it's good to be networking and fellowshipping with brothers from other churches, especially other Reformed brothers, especially if you're not in a Reformed church. Yeah. Okay? All right, Jimmy. Does he need to leave his church?
I don't see why.
Why would he leave his church?
I don't see why.
There may be good reasons, but he hasn't. But he hasn't
said that. I don't see any strife, any division. I mean, it's by your own words here that you're saying that they love God and are eagerly seeking Him. That's a great church.
Yeah, this is the church that God used to restore your marriage.
Yeah,
you're leading in this church.
This is a great ministry here.
Yeah. And apparently, it doesn't sound like the worship is the problem because you seem to like, you're more charismatic. I don't think you mean charismatic in the theological sense. Probably just more expressive, hand raising kind of stuff.
Maybe
like some Hillsong or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Jen raise hands. So I mean, she's charismatic.
Only when she has a question.
No,
my wife only raises her hand when she has a
during
question.
worship.
Yes.
So she's
like, excuse me,
right there. She's like,
excuse
Jeremy,
little pitchy, bro.
That's not a question.
No, it was just a comment. She wants to. I have a comment. Yeah. See, I knew you and I would be on the same page. Listen, if I was looking for a church, I would first look for a church that was Reformed and Baptist. Mm-hmm. If I couldn't find one that was in close proximity, and that's relative, of course, then I would just look for
another Bible-believing church is it gospel saturated, where the people are they love God and they're eagerly seeking God. That's a great church.
Yeah, man. Look, I if they're preaching the Bible, that's I couldn't roll if they're not preaching the Bible. No, they got it. Now listen, I don't have to agree with them. Listen, people here don't agree with me on everything that I say.
So like your illustration today.
What?
Yo, you know what?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you know what?
My illustration was good. When I said, if you ain't slaying, you ain't praying, you ain't slaying?
No, that was cheesy.
That was good. People like that.
No, it was like, I killed my dog. I'm like,
oh, no,
why are you making it so awkward?
I was explaining that, like, okay, so I was talking about killing sin and how, in a garden, right? You're like, oh, we're not really good at killing sin, but you know what? My family, we should be good at killing sin because we're good at killing other things, like our first dog. Well, I didn't just say that. I said
we did. Listen to it. Listen to the sermon on Sunday.
What I said was
this past Sunday. Listen to it.
We're not really good at gardening, right? Because we kill everything in the garden. I said we kill everything. Like we even killed our first dog, right? So it was just like people need to relate. People need to know I make mistakes too. Just like everybody. Everybody's killed a dog. No, if you've had more than one dog, you've probably killed one of them.
Oh my gosh, Joe,
that's so normal.
No, there's a difference.
It was an accident.
There's a difference between putting a dog down.
Oh yeah,
because of health issues and stuff, and leaving your dog out in the middle of a thunderstorm, and it died.
Got struck of pneumonia. Lightning. Yeah, or pneumonia, whatever it was. I don't remember. Yeah, that was.
As soon as you said it, I looked at Michelle like that was actually. I think I even texted Brian. Yeah. I was like, that wasn't awkward.
It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be. That's what happens when you don't have a lot of notes. Just riff.
So as long as your pastor's not talking about killing a dog, then you're fine.
Yeah. We just. I mean, if they're preaching here's the thing. We've got people that Redeemer really like Redeemer, warts and all. Like they understand that we've got a lot of room to work, a lot of room to mature and grow.
Oh gosh, we do.
But the people here really do love the church, and so when they have to move somewhere, when their job relocates them, they'll be like, all right, man, I can't find a church. I can't find a church like Redeemer, and it's like, okay. And I say, of course you can't. And it's not because we're the best church. It's because every church has its own culture and flavor.
Correct.
And so what you have to do is you have to decide, out of the things that are important, what are the things that you're going to die for? What are the things that you're going to stay for or leave for? And for me, it's got to be good biblical preaching.
Yes, healthy leadership.
And it's got to be good community. If I can't roll with you guys, then I can't stay. If I can't be fed by the preaching, I can't stay. But then after that, it gets into other issues like, well, what's the culture of worship like and all that stuff. And, I have a lot of preferences, but I lay those aside there because it's more important. So look, man.
I know. So Joe's, even though he planted the church, he's mad that we don't allow fog machines and lasers.
And death metal.
Yeah. So he would say, sorry, Joe.
Gothenburg death metal.
Yeah, we're like, no, Joe, sorry. He lays that preference aside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the elders won't allow him.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. Ain't no harvest situation over here.
No one listening to you. It's like reverse harvest.
Yeah. They stab pictures of my face. if you know what I'm talking about.
That's horrible. Right. That was horrible. But no, I wouldn't leave the church. That's just
now. That said, if there are issues that are serious and that you haven't explained, then so if there are serious theological problems where your conscience, you don't want your kids to be taught there. Okay, I get that. If the preaching is way off the mark, then fine. But if this guy is preaching the word, and if the people are great, man.
And it sounds like the couple is more charismatic in worship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess our biggest concern is about freedom of worship. I guess you could call us charismatic when it comes to worship.
So I'm guessing that's probably cool where they're at. Because his question is if we go to a Reformed church, is that going to be cool?
Oh, yes, yeah. So I'm saying he's more charismatic than they are.
I don't think he's more charismatic than the church he's at.
Okay, maybe. Yeah,
no, definitely.
Definitely?
Yeah.
Definitely, you could read his mind.
No, we talked.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I already talked him through all this
okay.
stuff.
Never mind then if you already talked to him.
Exactly what he... No, okay. Maybe not. So whatever it is, though, but just, and if you're at a church, if they freak out because you raise your hands, all right, I would just leave. I ain't got time for that kind of a church. So that's weird. If people want to raise their hands, that's fine. But, if you're spinning in circles and jumping up and down...
That's different.
You're making
and you're pulling out your painting easel and start...
Yeah, you're starting to sculpt with your feet.
Wait, what?
Well, yeah, I don't know what they do. Charismatics do weird things.
Start
sculpt with their feet. Yeah, man. With the blindfold on. Like Bird Box.
They're going to Bird Box.
They're going to Bird Box it.
Have you heard about that Bird Box worship?
Stop
I know
it.
it's a joke.
Was it a joke? I just saw.
I can't remember if it was Babylon B.
I don't think it was Babylon B.
No, stop it. There's no way. Look it up.
All right.
So, yeah. I mean, here, while Joe's looking that up, I mean, I was in a church situation. I've talked about it before. Where my conscience, I couldn't stay there anymore. My wife and I, could not. It was a hard decision because, I love the people, still love the people. There's people there that I still talk to regularly, from that church. They loved me. They embraced me when I first moved to Canada. And actually, my wife's family, her parents, were members are still members of that church. My father-in-law was an elder of the church. But it was because of theological issues and disagreements with overbearing leadership. Abusive leadership is the way I would put it, with the senior pastor, that we just had to go. But that was hard. It's not something that to be taken lightly, which I'm thankful that you guys, as you're saying here, we're prayerfully considering this. Because it's hard to leave a church. It's family. These are people that you love, they love you, and you guys are in community together. So yeah, take it serious. It's not something to just jump off on any little issue.
Yeah, don't be divisive.
Yeah, or divisive either. Right?
But mostly divisive.
Yeah,
because
divisive is worse.
Divisive is lesser than divisive.
No.
Look it up, Google it. So because you are the odd man out. That church has an established theology,
yes,
an established culture, and you do not want to come in there with a wrecking ball, or with 5 wrecking balls and just start swinging, tulip around. Yeah.
I got that song now stuck in my head.
Did you come in like a wrecking ball?
Yeah.
Because that's just not cool, man. So if you can't be chill and be cool and hold your convictions and have good influence, but not be divisive or divisive, then if you can't do that, then you need to go.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to consider there. By the way, okay, yeah. From my research here,
is it Babylon B?
No, it's not. This is real.
This ain't real. No
yeah, it's
way.
real. Yep. It was pulled from a guy's Facebook page. Tonight we worshiped in such an unconventional way, but had such an incredible experience. We took
this
away
charisma news, isn't it?
Nope. We took away our visual to focus on the spiritual. No distractions, no judgments, no worries, just unconventional and unrestricted worship. Bird Box. Hashtag Bird Box.
All right.
Hashtag viral.
Yeah.
If you have to hashtag your own stuff with viral, it's not viral. It's not viral.
No.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. Do blind people get offended at that?
Wait, what?
Do blind people get offended because all these people are blindfolding themselves? It ain't a game, son. This is life.
Must be a privilege to.
Well, a nice like sight privilege. You're just gonna like casually blind yourself for like a little experience. I don't know. Maybe they get offended. All I'm saying is, we ain't doing that here at Redeemer. We're not doing the Bird Box Challenge. Besides, if we did, Jimmy or one of these guys would be like throwing stuff at people, like pretending they didn't do it. It would be a nightmare.
First of all, I'd be throwing stuff at the rest of the leaders, at the elders.
For doing it. Yeah.
That would be yeah.
But you could just take the scrunchie that you wear to keep your hair back and just pull it right over your eyes.
Why do you make fun of me for that? Stop it! It's a nice scrunchie.
Oh, gee. Okay. Hey, if you want us to read but never respond to your questions, you can contact us through our form on the website.
Yep.
You can hit us up on Facebook.
Yep. You could follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo.
Doc and Devo.
And Facebook / Dr. Devotion. You can go to the website, drdevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast or hit up the store. And this is the next couple days is the last time for you to grab the hoodie. Why are you looking at me like that?
I think it's already over.
No, it's not.
Or are you extending it?
No, it goes through this week. Last week was the first week. This is the second week. You big dummy. It ends on Sunday. So ends on Sunday.
This episode
3rd.
is dropping not this week, but the next week.
No, this is going this week.
No.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
Only because you
Monday
said that.
and Thursday
you changed
blog
it up.
post on Wednesdays.
You messed up, and now you're changing the schedule.
Later.